We are here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are a news generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Tuesday, January 7th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and this is News Generation. Today, we're joined by Kwon Ji-yeon.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, and Im Sang-yeon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. So yesterday, we discussed the job market outlook for 2025 here in Korea. So we chose a related topic for today's keyword news. Our keyword for this Tuesday is part-time job. According to data from the domestic part-time job search platform Albamon, the most searched keyword last year was convenience store, followed by coffee shop, pharmacy, and cram schools. Now, interestingly, searches for terms related to pop-up stores and yogurt ice cream shops more than doubled compared to the year before. So I want to ask our panelists, why do you think these specific keywords gained significant attention last year? And what do you think this trend shows or kind of represents about the job market here in South Korea?
Well, first of all, I think part-time jobs in convenience stores are actually popular among younger generation, considering the pay is not that bad when we think about the current inflation. So jobs like these give only the minimum wage, but since the current Korea's minimum wage is around 10,000 won, I guess it's actually not a bad option for college students to work there. And also, most of the jobs are repetitive and easy to learn, which means that the part-time workers do not have to undergo a thorough onboarding process. Similar to this, a guest part-time job at wedding ceremonies is another popular option for many young people these days. It doesn't require much labor, and all you gotta do is visit the wedding hall ceremonies and welcome and spend time with the bride and the groom.
So this could be some of the reasons why convenience stores topped last year's search trend at one of Korea's biggest part-time job search platforms. What do you think, Jian?
Well, I do agree with Sang-yeon about the convenience store. You know, convenience store jobs are quite popular here for their flexibility, especially for young students. And it's quite attractive to the younger generation because they can balance their work and studies at the same time.
Because they run 24/7.
Flexible schedules, indeed. And another rising trend in South Korea is part-time delivery jobs, especially for food or groceries. These roles offer workers the freedom to set their own hours, their time, while providing a practical and rewarding way to earn money. And part-time roles in content creation. This is a generation that they are into the SNS, social media network, such as assisting with social media or video production. And these are gaining traction as more young people look to explore digital jobs while earning money.
Right, so convenience store was the most searched keyword in this job search platform in 2024, and we'll have to see which keyword tops this year. And that was our keyword news for this Tuesday. So moving on, today is the second of our three-part series on major issues expected to impact our generation this year in 2025. So as mentioned earlier, we talked about the job market yesterday, and today we're going to discuss another critical topic, which is the low birth rate. So let's first begin by examining the birth rate forecast here in the country for 2025.
Sure. Well, starting by looking at the shifting perceptions of marriage and childbirth among South Korea's MZ generation, which could have implications for the country's birth rate trends in 2025. While South Korea continues to face significant demographic challenges, and a recent survey suggests that attitudes toward family and childbearing may be evolving. So according to a social survey by Statistics Korea in 2022, 65% of Koreans believed marriage means having children. Marriage equals having a baby. So this rose by 3% to 68% in 2024 last year. And significantly, the proportion rose by 6% among men and 9% among women in their 20s over the past 2 years. This major shift among younger generations could indicate potential changes in birth rate in the year ahead for us.
Right, so we're seeing a change in perception, but we did see an increase in the birth rate figures last year in Korea, right, Sang-yeol?
Right, so I was actually quite surprised to see an uptick in the birth rate, considering that South Korea was suffering from the low birth rate for several years. So if you look at the statistics announced by the Korea Statistics Office at the end of last year, the accumulated number of newborn babies until October stood at around 200,000, and this was a 1.9% increase YOY. So if we take a closer look at the number in October only, the number of newly born babies went up by 13% compared to the same period of the year before, marking the biggest increase after 14 years. The percentage of newlyweds also climbed up by 20% compared to the previous year. So if this trend continues, the birth rate in 2025 is likely to rebound, which is a good sign for Korea.
Right. So the data Ju-hyun and Sang-yeol both shared does give a glimmer of hope in the low birth rate situation here in the country. And it seems like there's a possibility for birth rate figures to improve this year when compared to last year. Now, what's particularly interesting is the apparent shift in mindset among many young people who now seem to be warming up to the idea of marriage and also starting families. And this is fascinating because not too long ago, we often discussed how our generation was quite hesitant about this, citing various socio-economic factors here on NewsGen as well. So in your opinion, what do you think has brought about this change in perspective?
Well, first of all, many experts point out that a long years of South Korean government's effort to build a social condition where it's favorable to raise a child is finally paying off. So the younger generation are turning optimistic about marriage and birth. In fact, the use of parental leave by workers with kids below 9 or children at second grade in elementary schools are marking the highest record every year. Also, within several years, it has become a social norm that fathers should also participate in child rearing, reflecting a change in social perception. The MZers used to claim that they are unwilling to have babies because they might get disadvantages in the workplace, and it costs a lot to raise a kid. But now more and more are having babies since both mother and father are contributing to child rearing, and many companies are in fact guaranteeing parental leave for their employees.
Right, so it's becoming more natural for people, young workers here in South Korea, to take parental leave when compared to the past. So as Sang-yeol mentioned, he highlighted the changing social attitudes that are making it easier for parents to balance work and family life. And I want to point out that this is indeed important as more parents today are choosing to continue their careers after having children than previous generations. So I want to ask you, Ju-hyun, what do you think has contributed to this change in our society?
I think we covered this several times here. Last June, South Korean government declared a demographic national emergency, and the government introduced a range of policies focused on work-life balance, childcare, and housing support. These measures included increasing male parental leave usage to 50%, raising parental leave pay, and boosting funding for substitute workers. These efforts have led to clear changes in the society. For example, in professional settings like Arirang TV and other workplaces, it has become increasingly common for many fathers, many daddies, including those in senior positions, to leave for the parental leave. It's kind of a good trend here in Korea. And this shift in behavior reflects broader changes in societal attitudes as more people recognize the seriousness of the low birth rate crisis here happening in South Korea.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more because we're seeing more notices popping up in our company's website where male workers are taking a paternity leave. And also in the past, it was not really common for us to see even female workers taking maternity leave. But now we're seeing both female and male workers taking parental leave, which kind of shows that our generation is feeling less pressured of taking these leaves, which is creating an environment for them to actually reconsider, is it okay or will it be okay for me to have kids? So to get a better sense of whether young people in Korea are actually feeling that the country is becoming more supportive of working parents, we're now going to bring in a millennial working mom living in Korea to our discussion after a short break. Stay tuned.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
So joining us today is Kang Se-rom, a Korean millennial mom of a 7-year-old girl. Se-rom is currently the branch manager of the Korea office for an international company. Welcome to the show, Se-rom.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you as well. So, Se-rom, as a parent yourself, do you feel that the Korean society is becoming more supportive of working parents when compared to the past?
I would say yes. It is a lot more supportive on the working parents recent days compared to the time that I took the parental leave. And then in South Korea, there has been a significant shift in the social perceptions, like regarding parental leave and the various support system for families for the last few years. As you just mentioned, the perception has been changed a lot. And traditionally, the concept of the parental leave was often viewed like through a narrow lens, like primarily just associated with only women, and many people consider the parental leave is a stigma or the negative impact on their career. However, the recent years, having a growing recognition of the importance of the sharing parenting responsibilities, and these leading to a more inclusive understanding of parental leave. And following to that, I would say there are significant improvements on the parent support, such as the broader social shift towards valuing work-life balance and recognizing the importance of early childhood care. So also there are many benefits have been improved from my term. Such as the duration of parental leave has been extended and the financial incentives have been increased to support families during this period. So overall, the combination of changing social attitudes and supportive policies is fostering a more family-friendly environment in South Korea.
Such a great news, Se-rom. And so based on your experience, what do you think are the most effective support measures available for parents here in South Korea?
As you just mentioned earlier, I think the most supportive measure is that promotion of gender equality. The system encourages both mothers and fathers to take leave, which helps to challenge traditional gender roles and promotes shared parenting responsibilities. And in recent years, there has been a positive trend towards more fathers taking advantage of reduced working hours or parental leave. And actually, my family is one of the good example that my husband is taking the parental leave longer than me, and also now is taking the reduced working hours. And he's really happy to spend the time with my daughter, especially for the early childhood. It's such a precious time that you're never going to get back again. And I'm quite jealous on that as well. So the current status of reduced working hours for men in the context of the parenting varies by organization, but many places there is a growing recognition of the importance of the paternal involvement in child rearing, and leading to policies that support flexible working arrangements for fathers. So sometimes I'm quite amazed when I have a chance to pick up my daughter. There are so many fathers are taking care of their children who already taking the parental leave. So it's such a change, and because this allows to both of the parents take more active role in childcare, and rather than only the mother sacrificing their careers like my parents' era. And it is good for the companies in the long-term based, and which can lead to higher employee satisfaction and retention.
Okay, Se-rom, thank you for making the point. I also agree that fathers should also dedicate to childcare as well. Then on the flip side, do you think there are any policies from the government that should be complemented or missing?
There are two things I would like to mention. There is a need for further advocacy and structured change to ensure that all parents can participate fully in parenting without facing career penalties. So to do so, the first thing is the perception needs to be changed, and obviously the government and all the companies need to promote the active campaign to support the parents in the long term, not only the beginning of the this hard journey, but in a long term based that all the employee can move forward. And the last thing I would like to suggest, if I may, it will be more effective and helpful if there is more flexibility in how parental leave can be taken. For instance, like allowing the parents to split their leave into smaller segments, or to take it part-time, or working at home, and then maybe stay in the office in a very necessary time. And this could better accommodate different family situations, and it will actually give the practical help.
Definitely. All right, Serom, thank you so much for your insight today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you.
a pleasure.
Right, so Serom mentioned policy-wise support during the end of our live interview with her, so we're now going to focus on that. And this year, several new policies aimed at tackling the low birth rate here in Korea are coming into effect. So we're now going to take a closer look at some of these initiatives. So please start us off, Juan.
Yes, well, starting this year, 2025, the maximum parental leave allowance will increase from the current 1.5 million won to 2.5 million won per month, which is sort of a great relief, that is, for those taking parental leave. And the deferred payment system, where 25% of the allowance was withheld and paid 6 months later after they're returning to their workplace, has been abolished. That's such a great news. Now the full allowance will be paid during the leave period, and this change ensures greater financial stability for parents during their leave. More support means more smiles at home.
Definitely. And financial support, it's a great help for parents who are raising a child because,
Indeed.
as we mentioned several times on Newsden, everything is getting pricier these days, so definitely more help. But this kind of support for parents could actually place a strain on businesses, especially small and medium-sized ones. So, Sang-hyuk, is there any assistance being provided to these employers?
Yeah, so far, most of these childcare support by the government was mostly centered around the large companies, but starting from 2025, the small and mid-sized enterprises will also receive support from the government. Now, many of these SMEs usually face a labor shortage when their workers take parental leave. From now on, the South Korean government will give subsidies to SMEs to fill in the vacant positions with alternative labor. It's also planning to give fiscal support to unburden the labor in case a worker makes a leave to care of the child. If a company hires alternate labor once an employee makes a leave, 1 year of support will be given by the government.
Right, so we are indeed seeing more support measures being rolled out by the government to boost the low birth rate, which is once again one of the low birth rates in the world here in Korea. Now, we also asked our viewers to introduce the support systems or benefits available for parents in their countries to find out what's the situation like in other parts of the world. Let's take a look at some of the responses. Our first comment for today is official spiritual success. Depending on the place of employment, there is maternity leave for a specified time for both men and women according to individual state law. There is also child daycare, which can be provided by your workplace. Spiral Sausage says in the UK, 1 year of maternity leave and the father gets 2 weeks. The 1 year leave can be taken by both and mixed and matched, but the pay is also shared. Finally, Benny D97 says here in the Philippines, we have an extended maternity leave law, and the benefits of it include 105 days of maternity leave with an option for 30 more days without pay and 15 days for single mothers. Thank you all for sharing all the low birth rate policies in your countries. Finally, ending off our discussion for today, as members of the younger generation, what do you think needs to be done to help people feel more confident? And also, I think this is the most important, be supported when they make a decision to start a family or have kids.
Well, first of all, children are sometimes messy. Noisy, fussy, I said sometimes. But speaking as a parent, I hope society becomes more understanding and supportive of children here. So from public spaces to workplaces like here, creating an environment where families feel welcome can make a huge difference for the society as well. And simple gestures like more child-friendly facilities or a tolerant attitude towards kids in public places can ease the stress of raising children in Korea. A society that embraces children is one that truly invests in its future. You know, after all, happy kids mean a brighter tomorrow. They're our future.
Right, and is this how you feel about your two lovely sons?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Then what about you, Sang-hyuk?
Okay, so since I don't have kids or I'm not married yet, I used to think that the reason why MZers do not want to get married and have kids is because of the financial burden. But just to expand what Juyeon mentioned, I think what's really important here is to create a social atmosphere where we embrace children and to create a society where the parents feel safe to raise a child. So going beyond just giving cash to the companies and the individuals, I think is really crucial to build a society where we can safely raise child. And as an individuals, we should also be more friendly to children instead of being hostile to them.
So I think it all comes down to creating a supportive environment, creating a child-friendly but also a parent-friendly environment as well. And that's all from NewsGen today, but we'll be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks today to Kwon Ji-yeon.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And Im Sang-yeop.
It was an honor to be here.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. We are
News Generation.